Hi everyone, it's Patricia from tarantulaheaven.com. We have Miss Spidey being a stretchy pancake or doing like a little yoga pose over here. We have the jealous cat over here named Ava supervising me. Today I wanted to share a little bit about Spidey's molt. In my last video, I talked about Spidey's latest molt and how strange it was that for a spider who usually takes 24 hours to molt because she's so old, she had a recent molt that was like 6 hours long, and so that was very strange. But one thing I also noticed about this molt was not only was the malting mat so much smaller and lighter, and the actual malting process so much shorter. I've spoken a little bit about the behavioral changes that happen with tarantulas after a molt, because I've definitely witnessed this in Spidey, where usually she's a very calm, chill tarantula because she's a rose heron. Like, that's not always the reputation, but like a lot of people will say that this is a good or decent beginner tarantula because sometimes they're quite calm and docile, and that's been my experience with Spidey. But after a molt, I noticed that she started to get a little bit skittish or a little bit and I think it's more connected to being hungry than anything else, but like very sensitive to movement. And she would like kind of, anytime I tried to open the tank, she'd be like a little bit too curious about what I was doing in the tank, and it used to scare me. So I've learned to respect Spidey after a molt and make sure that I feed her before sticking any tongs in the enclosure or anything like that. But yeah, a lot of people say that their tarantulas will go through mood swings, particularly rose hares, but I know this can happen with any tarantula. And so what I did want to share was the differences between her behavior with this molt and the others. Personality-wise, if you can call it personality, she's been the same. I did feed her. She was very, very hungry, as one would be after they've shed their entire body. But she hasn't been like any more skittish or active. She's actually been like resting a lot, which is normal. But one thing I did notice is that she actually interacted with her molt way more than she used to. Usually she will like snuggle up against it or like lay near it, probably just because she's tired, or I don't know, because maybe it feels interesting to her. I've heard that some tarantulas will even consume their molts, but Spidey's never done that. But I wanted to take the molt out because one of Ava's vet techs is getting into taxidermy, and she was very interested in obtaining one of Spidey's molts. And so, I had kind of said like, well, sure, but Spidey only molts every like 3 years, so you might have to wait. But since Spidey did molt, I wanted to extract the molt from Spidey so that I could give it to her. And Spidey would not let me take it for a little bit. I tried to take it out, but Spidey was a little bit too close to the molt, and so she kind of like tried to get at my tongs, and so I was like, okay, I'll leave you alone for a minute. So I waited a few days, and then I honestly wish I had gotten it on camera or like recognized it happening in the moment, but she was actually like bringing her molt with her around the tank. Like, I saw her carry the molt. Like, the molt used to be where she's laying right here, and she put it on her log next to her. So she was like almost like hanging out with it and carrying it around, which was just so bizarre. But I unfortunately never got it in action. But it was like very odd. I'll definitely show some pics of what I got. And then eventually she got tired of doing that, and then like kind of just like ejected it, like pushed it away from her, and went to the other side of the tank so that I could finally extract the molt in peace. But I had never seen her do that before. Usually the most she wants to do is just lay next to it. She never really moves it or interacts with it, and I wasn't really sure what she was going to do. So it was really, really interesting. I know that there are other tarantulas who do really weird things with their molts, and so I would love to hear what your experience has been, or what weird stuff your tarantulas have done. But yeah, so this molt was a little bit different because it was so much shorter, and also just that like she actually did want to interact with her molt for some reason, and I'm not really sure. I mean, I think that perhaps a lot of spider behavior is random, and there is no reason why they would do any particular thing, but I'm curious about what other people's experiences have been. The vet tech has obtained the molt now, and Spidey's molt is in a jar to be memorialized forever. And that's, you know, super excited. I'm glad I could give someone that to appreciate, because generally I used to save Spidey's molts, but after a while, if you don't have a place where they just will be totally untouched, or you don't know how to preserve them, they break so easily, and I don't know anything about taxidermy, and so you know, usually I just have had to dispose them because they would either break from showing people, or, you know, I just didn't have a safe place to put them, and if I was moving, it would just be like a liability to try to keep this thing intact. So I generally haven't kept them, but I'm really glad that I could give it to somebody who would appreciate that. And, you know, for Spidey, I haven't felt the want to keep them because she is already full grown and was when I got her. So it wasn't like I was tracking her growth or anything like that. Like, she's been the same size forever. So, but yeah, so she's doing really, really good. But please let me know if you have had spiders do weird things with their molts. I'm very interested in learning about what that was, and, you know, why do they do this? So anyway, guys, thank you for supporting Spidey and for giving all your good vibes when I posted about her molting a few weeks ago. She's doing really good, and I'm looking forward to seeing her kind of like grow into her new body and continue to eat and rest and recover. She looks so beautiful. And hopefully now that she's molted, that means that she's going to be a lot more active for you guys in the near future, especially as we get into spring. So that'll be really exciting. And yeah, I'll see you soon on next Tarantula Tuesday. Bye.